first is like what a physician should do. First, do no harm, right? Like assume that, you know, you're probably a force for mayhem and trouble unless you've got yourself disciplined and aimed.
Right.
You know, because you're complicated and troublesome. And so unless you've got your act together, you're trouble. And everyone knows that. And they know people like that. So the first thing you do is constrain the amount of damage you're likely to do. And you do that by disciplining yourself and by also admitting to yourself that you don't know what you're doing, that there's lots of things about you that need to be improved, which is actually, that's a beacon of hope, right? It's like, well, my life is miserable. Yeah, but you're doing a bunch of things wrong. It's like, oh, good, because if I'm doing a bunch of things wrong, then maybe if I fix them, my life won't be so horrible. Well, that's good. And everyone knows about the fact that they're not doing things right, fundamentally. You know, they don't have to examine their conscience that much to figure that out. And then you can start aiming for something good. Start not lying any more than you have to, or maybe not at all if you can train yourself. Then you start to discern truth from falsehood. And then you can find out empirically, does your life get better or worse? Well, you know, I've got hundreds of letters now, maybe thousands of letters from people who have been trying that, you know, and they say, well, you know, I'm way better. I'm doing way better than, you know, than I thought that I was before. I went into a restaurant the other day in Toronto, and this kid came up and he shook my hand and he said, I just want you to know that since I've been listening to you, I've got 3 promotions at this restaurant. And I said, well, you know, good work, man, like way to be. And he said, yeah, well, I started coming in on time and I'm working really hard and I'm trying to figure out how I can do a good job here instead of being above the job, you know. I'll take this until I get something better. It's sort of beneath me. It's like, no, probably not. Actually, it's not that easy to do most jobs. It's actually hard to do most jobs, especially to do them well. And it turns out that the world is constituted, if society is set up well, that if you do a good job, invisible doors open in front of you. Because people, and I know this, I've had lots of contact with businesses and academic institutions, and like the people who run things competently are often, but not always, very interested in finding young people that they can mentor and move forward. It's actually one of the pleasures of being competent in something.
Yeah.
And so if they see someone who's like going that extra mile, you know, busy people have lots of opportunities around them. And they think, oh, I've got that opportunity. I can't really do it, but I can funnel it over to this kid here.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how he or she does it. You know, and so you say, yeah, you want to try this? And the person says, well, I don't have time. It's like, well, okay. But the smart kid says, yeah, yes, I'll do that. And then the person with opportunities watches and thinks, okay, well, let's, you know, we'll back up a bit, see if the person does it. And if they do it, it's like, hey, here's 4 more opportunities that I don't have time for. It's like, bang.
This postmodernism stuff, the idea of that the system's rigged against you, they're really actually stealing something from young people, right? They're stealing.
They're stealing their future.
But they're also stealing like their intestinal fortitude. You're stealing their ability to go, I've got to make something in this world.
Yeah. Well, and their optimism. It's like, no, look, the system is rigged against you. Okay, you're gonna die. You're gonna be ill. Like, it's rough, man. Now, you don't want to lay that at the feet of the social structure, because the social structure, at least in part, is trying to have you not die, right? I mean, that's why we have walls and electricity and all of that. It works pretty damn well. You know, you're probably gonna live till you're 80. And the only reason you're not going to live longer is because we can't figure out how to get you to live longer. That's why. You're not going to starve to death. Wild animals aren't going to tear you in pieces. Tyrants aren't going to rip you from limb to limb. It's like, these are good things. Now, you still got a big problem because the cosmic system is rigged against you in a sense. But, okay, so fine.
What do you mean by that, the cosmic system?
Well, you know, you're vulnerable and you can be broken, and you will be in many ways. But you can't blame someone for that. It's just, that's the structure of reality. Okay, so what do you do about that? Well, as far as I can tell, and I've always looked as a psychologist for optimistic ideas. And I'm not an easy sell with regards to optimistic ideas, especially because of my basic belief in the idea that, you know, the most profound truth is that life is suffering. It's okay, fine, life is suffering. You can't blame that on anyone. All right, so what do you do about it? Well, maybe nothing. Maybe nothing. Maybe the jig's up. It's hopeless, you know. But maybe that's not right. Maybe here's something. What you have against the suffering and the malevolence, let's say, you have possibility, you have potential in front of you, inside of you even, whatever that means. So here's the question. What would your life be like if you made use of all the potential that you were offered? That's the optimistic question, because you can test it out. Say, okay, well, I'll just try that for a year. I'm gonna do the best I can at everything that offers itself to me, just as an experiment. And then I'm gonna see, well, is my life better or is my life worse? It's like, you try it for a year, you think, it's actually better. My friendships are better, my family's better, I'm less anxious, I'm more positively oriented, I'm less resentful and bitter and jealous and angry. You know, I'm more physically healthy. It's like, hey, great, and you're not that good at it. It's like, what happens if you did that for 5 years?
Yeah, that's a good addiction.
That's an addiction. Yeah, it's an addiction to possibility. And then it's also an exponential thing. And this is actually technically true. We know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's this principle that economists talk about. They often call it the Matthew principle, which is based on a statement in the New Testament. From those who have everything, to those who have everything, more will be given. And from those who have nothing, everything will be taken. It's really a vicious statement. But what it means is, as you go downhill faster and faster. And people know that. It's like, it isn't linear, man. It's exponential. You do one thing, stupid, then 2 stupid things happen, then 4 stupid things happen. And, before you know it, you're done. But the reverse of that is also true. You do one good thing, and then, you get 2 opportunities, and you fix them up, and you get 4. And this is how the world works. It's a fundamental economic principle. And you see, because of that a small proportion of people have most of the gains accrue to them. And they're the ones, they're healthy. That's luck often, They didn't get run over by a bus. Like, there's lots of arbitrary things about life that have to go right. But after that, it's like, those are also people who are capitalizing on what they're being offered without bitterness or resentment. And then maybe it won't work for you, but you don't have a better plan than that.